I was somewhere over Kansas when the lights on that plane cut out, and suddenly it felt like the whole world just dropped out from under us. I mean, really dropped. You could feel your stomach in your throat, and before anyone could even process what was happening, you heard that engine cough and die. Then the other sputtered, and next thing you know, someone's yelling down the aisle, "Her row 17 now." I'll tell you what, the whole plane just turned to look, and man, you could see right on people's faces. Nobody expected the quiet girl in 17A to be the one anyone would call on in a moment like this. Some guy a few rows up actually snorted, "What, her?" She probably thinks the cockpit's for TikTok lives, and I'll admit for a second I thought, well, maybe she's just another grad student and sweats headphones on, no makeup, not a care in the world. But let me back up a sec, because that's how folks like Claire Avery always slip under the radar, you know? People see the surface, not what's underneath. Anyway, Claire's just sitting there, hoodie pulled low, shoes scuffed like she runs for fun, not for medals. And honestly, most of us didn't even notice her until that oxygen mask dropped, and the whole plane pitched hard left you could feel the metal shudder, hear the air rush past like some ghost screaming. The lights flickered out, leaving everything blue and strange, and right then, a baby started wailing it cuts through you in a way nothing else can. Then you hear the pilot, voice thin and shaky over the intercom. "We are experiencing complete systems failure. Please remain seated." Yeah, like anyone was going anywhere. But here's the thing about Claire, she didn't hesitate, didn't fumble, didn't even look surprised. She took her headphones off, handed her bag to the lady next to her with this calm little nod, like she practiced it 100 times, and walked up the aisle as the flight attendant nearly tripped over her own shoes trying to get to her. Now the flight crew? They weren't running for the cockpit themselves, they were coming for Claire, like she was the ace in the hole they'd kept just for this kind of nightmare. When she got to that cockpit, I swear you could feel the tension spike. The co-pilot was already out cold from lack of oxygen, and the captain, Rodriguez, was clinging to the yoke with white knuckles, barely conscious. Claire just slides into the chaos, steady hands, eyes sharp, not panicking. She hits the emergency autopilot override. You could see the plane actually level out. Just a little, then she starts flipping switches and reading off checklists with this low, sure voice like she's ordering coffee, not saving a couple hundred lives. The flight attendant, Sandra, I think stammers, "Ma'am, who exactly are you?" And Claire, cool as ice, goes, "Claire Avery, former Air National Guard, 139th Airlift Wing. C-130 flight instructor. Current commercial multi-engine rating." Yeah, that happened. You could see Sandra's jaw drop. Back in the cabin, folks who were mocking her 5 minutes before are now craning their necks, whispering, "Is she really flying this thing?" It's weird how quickly people flip. 1 second, you're nobody. The next, you're their only hope. Claire's working those controls, resetting hydraulics, rerouting oxygen to the captain, calling out checklist steps. She glances at the flight map, recalculates glide angles in her head, then calmly radios Greensboro Tower. This is Claire Avery assuming command. Dual engine failure. Request emergency approach. You could practically hear the silence from the other end, controllers frozen, trying to process why a woman they didn't know was speaking with that kind of authority. Then, out of nowhere, a voice cuts through, so crisp you know it's military. "Commander Blaine, 139th Airlift. Confirmed, Avery has emergency command. Give her anything she needs." At that point, even the skeptics went quiet. That was the twist nobody expected. The crew scrambles all at once. The respect shifts. You can feel it, honestly, like the temperature changes. Passengers who'd been snarky are now dead silent, just watching, hoping. Claire's hands never shake as she explains what's next. "Captain, we're going to dead stick this. I'll need your help on the checklist." Rodriguez, glassy-eyed, manages a nod. There's something about watching someone step up when it matters most. I can't really explain it, but it settles you. The whole plane breathes together, just waiting. Greensboro Tower clears them for an emergency approach, absolute priority. All emergency crews on the ground moving into place, floodlights on the runways, ambulances lining up just in case. And inside that cockpit, Claire is still all business. Flaps to 20, gear down at the marker, trim set for glide. She talks Rodriguez through each move, treats that powerless 737 like a glider. banking just right, calculating the drop, trusting every ounce of training. The approach is so smooth, it almost feels surreal. The main wheels hit the tarmac with a jolt, but it's straight and clean, rolling to a stop 2/3 down the runway with barely a scrape. And then, just like that, it's over. The doors swing open, paramedics flood in, but the only thing most of us remember is Claire, hood up, eyes down, moving through the chaos with the same quiet that got her here in the first place. No media scrum, no grandstanding. She slips off that plane like she's just another passenger grateful to touch ground. But the people who needed to know knew. You started hearing it in aviation circles. The woman who dead-sticked 737, didn't lose a soul, and never asked for anything in return. A week later, she gets a letter, not from the airline, not from reporters, but hand-delivered military letterhead. Claire, some pilots fly with clearance, you fly with certainty. You're cleared for any airspace, any conditions. Respectfully, Commander Blaine. She never bragged about it, never posted a thing online, just went back to her usual life, but funny enough, every flight she took after, row 17 always seemed to be open, always available. Flight crews would recognize her, check in, nod, but never say a word. Controllers gave her preferred routes, always professional, but if you listened, you could hear the difference in their tone. Sometimes, people think the loudest voice or the biggest title makes the difference in a crisis. But let me tell you, it's almost always the quiet professionals, the ones who don't need to announce themselves, who save the day. That's what happened on Flight 847, and I'll never forget it. So, here's what I'm asking you. When was the last time you underestimated someone sitting quietly in the corner or wrote off the person who didn't fit your idea of a hero? Share your story below. Tell me what you think. Does real competence need a spotlight? Or is it better revealed when the stakes are highest and the crowd goes silent?